the First Coast's most accurate forecast from the First Coast News Weather Team, certified by Weather Rate, sponsored by AC Designs.
Well, howdy. It is a Thursday. We've got ourselves a weather impact alert day. We got some strong storms nearing. If you're in Waycross, we've got some strong storms here. I'm meteorologist Lewis Turner. Right across the room from me is meteorologist Robert Speta. Robert, good morning. How we doing?
Good morning. Yeah, it's still 10:43.
Yeah.
I know it's been a long day for you. You issued the weather impact alert for this morning.
Yeah.
Now, I want to reiterate to viewers watching this that we put out these weather impact alert doesn't mean that it's it's going to be the most destructive storm, but it is going to be inconvenience, right?
100%.
Because when are we expecting these storms to kind of pass through Jacksonville?
I mean, by afternoon, that 2 to 5 p.m. range that we talk about a good deal of time with some of these fronts. The hottest part of our afternoon would be the most unstable when we could hear some thunder. But we're watching the line carefully, and it would be during a period of time where a lot of people would be either picking up kids from school, because that's getting out at, 3 o'clock, in general, or maybe hitting the interstates for about 5 p.m. for that evening commute. So that's kind of the gist there. As we go to radar, so our weather impact alert, we're issuing from noon until 5. Now, if you're in Waycross right now or inland southeast Georgia, we're seeing radar, you're already with that. Okay, so we definitely want to think about you as we track some of this on radar. And it's a really robust line of showers and thunderstorms. And even through the morning, Robert, as I was watching this, you look at the radar, you look at what's happening upstream to see what's coming downstream. This has had a history of producing some pretty severe weather as far as winds 50 to 60 miles an hour and even some hail, which actually we're getting indicated there on the storm track. So you're kind of timing it out there. Now, I don't think neither Robert or I are extraordinarily confident that this system is going to keep its full act together as it makes its trek through Jacksonville and then south to St. Johns County and beyond. But nonetheless, we're probably still dealing with a few showers, and you probably hear some rumbles of thunder today.
Yeah, and actually, if you don't mind, if we could switch over to your graphics here so we can take a look. I think you had those weather impact alert graphics, kind of breaking down what you need to know. Because there's another thing you were talking about here is the need factor here, because you don't need to run and take shelter, but use care on the roads, have those weather alerts on, right? Yeah,
so and that's kind of one of the, as I was thinking about it this morning, why I wanted to issue this weather impact alert is certainly because of the impacts, but also the needs. We're entering a progressive pattern of weather. We're entering the season of battle between spring and winter, where we're going to get these mid-latitude fronts, cyclones, essentially tracking across the country. We're going to get fronts coming through, and this is a typical thing we get with our climate. We get it through late February, March into April, May sometimes, before the kind of afternoon shower thunderstorm activity takes place on the sea breeze more in the summer. But right now we're with the fronts, and with these progressive fronts, we get into thunderstorm season, and we get isolated severe thunderstorms. So it's just kind of a refresher. You come out of winter where we don't really get that as much into the late winter, early spring where we do, and I want everybody to just have that refreshed memory of, okay, here's how I turn on my notifications. I have the First Coast News app. You make sure your location's on, and the alerts are on. That way, if you're away from the television, if you're away from FCN Plus, you get that alert sent directly to your phone. And here's the indicator for your hour by hour. It's really the middle sliver of our day. That's after lunch to about 5, 6 p.m. if we want to include the full length of the commute. So, but by 7, 8 o'clock tonight, you might have a little drizzly condition out there, Robert. But the gist of this will be over, and then the cool air comes in, and we make way for a cool Valentine's Day. But I do want to talk Storm Prediction Center. This is a graphic you're going to see a lot now too when we're talking about this threat of severe weather. Storm Prediction Center puts out these graphics with different categories of what the risk is, and it's essentially a 0 to 5 scale. Your low risk being probably just going to get some thunder, maybe some rumbles. Your marginal all the way up to high would be your 1 to 5 of chances of seeing severe weather. And just in that shaded area, you see Valdosta is kind of the bullseye of it, but it includes Waycross, which is getting the storms now, all the way up to coastal Empire of Georgia. What you have is that marginal. So on a 1 to 5, you have that marginal risk of seeing severe weather. So that would include Western Glen as we get in the next couple, maybe hour and a half or so, and Western Camden and better part of Charlton. Certainly could get some gusty winds today, 40, 50 mile an hour range. And we have seen a history of this particular storm creating some hail. So let's switch over to Robert Speta's computer graphics. It's time to take a look at.
Because you were talking about the fronts coming through, so I think this graphic really nails it down, because look at Jacksonville right now. We're in the 80s.
Yeah.
But you go to Atlanta, it's 52 degrees, and my goodness, look at Topeka, Kansas. I know Topeka, Kansas is not... Two. Just two. But it shows you...
That's not enough degrees, Robert.
It's not enough degrees. That's why we live here. We're almost beating out Miami right now. But this just shows that confliction of the air masses. And the other thing we're seeing out ahead of this, these cooler temperatures spilling in, is this warm southerly winds. And what's really interesting is, check this out. You can see the line right there. Do you see the difference? So that's our FROPA. Big fancy word. FROPA is short for frontal passage. So you got that warm southerly winds out ahead of this, and then those cool northwesterly winds behind it. Look at Valdosta already down to 69 degrees, 66 in Tallahassee, Lake City's at 72, 80 in Jacksonville. So it's that sharp line. And I mentioned this also because you're talking about the storms that, they're coming through midday, but by tonight, I think a lot of people are going to be maybe not caught off guard, but pleasantly surprised of the cool down in the forecast. I mean, what's our high for tomorrow?
66.
66 degrees.
Yeah.
So which was more or less our low for today.
Yeah.
So
we get back to seasonable tomorrow. It's going to be a shock to the system because we've had yesterday we broke a record. I mean, it was the all-time record high for that day yesterday, 85 degrees in Jacksonville. And then we're going to go what is a normal temperature in Jacksonville, Florida for this time of year. It would be 66, and that's what we get tomorrow. What Robert did was very interesting. It kind of gave me a flashback. He, drawing on that map, showing the line between the wind direction between southwest to northwest is exactly what you had to do in meteorological school,
of course.
Charting and looking, because that is a classic textbook example of where the front.
We're going to do a little bit of that. Let me pull up the dew points and let's see if there's a little drop off there. It's not quite as
drastic, but it's 62 in Waycross right now. But I mean, they're under that pretty good shower. They're drying out. I mean, at least we'll be drying out very, very soon, dew point relation wise. But I thinking about like the temperatures in Jacksonville, we're at 80. We get that low-level jet with those southwests coming in out of the Gulf. We got the warmth and the humidity, certainly. It's just you're wondering if this front's going to hold its act together as it comes through Duval. So that's why I'm not as highly as confident in severe weather in Jacksonville, but certainly, I mean, look at this whole band.
And this is something we were talking about earlier, is the fact that, this band is pretty persistent. This morning, it had a lot of instability with it out towards our west. But one thing, it actually, I think it surprises some people, is the cloud cover actually benefits us in decreasing the instability, because you don't get quite as much sunshine. And, you're not going to get as much mixing in the atmosphere to help that kind of create that instability. So... you can see here on the satellite picture, we actually have it starting to cloud over Jacksonville. So the more cloud cover, the better. Hopefully this does start to fall apart. And it looks like, some of these lines, actually, you know what? Since we have this graphic, let's get a little fancy with it here, Blue. I'm going to pull up the 3-dimensional slice.
Okay.
So let's see how high these cloud tops are. So what we're going to do is right there. That's what I'm looking for. Out of Waycross. Let's pull that up. We're gonna go. Wow, I love this.
Yeah.
What is that? Up to maybe
50,000, 55,000 at the very tips.
Yeah, maybe well, I think the heavier stuff's only about 20 to 30,000 feet. That sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
But we needed a little bit higher than that to get some good, robust lightning coming out of these. So it looks like this overall is starting to not only fall apart in just general size, but also shrink from top to bottom a little bit.
And you can see that in the lightning as well. I mean, our lightning tracker that we have on our radar product is pretty awesome in getting real-time strikes, and we can tell you how many strikes are happening per hour. But the fewer you have, I mean, this thing was hundreds of strikes per hour earlier this morning, and now that we're getting through the afternoon, you're seeing the more of the energy is up towards Savannah and then back west north of Tallahassee. I mean, we're just at 19 strikes.
That's for the entire line here in South region. Georgia. Yeah.
So that's an encouraging thought for a little bit of weakening there. So big picture, kind of thinking about the rest of our afternoon. I wanted to go. Look, can we go back to my graphics there? We'll go back to. I'm going to skip ahead. So we see our storms over Waycross. Panama City's getting a little bit of action. There's your wide picture. I have a futurecast model. So looking through the rest of our day, notice how our computer modeling kind of shows a break apart as it gets into Jacksonville. Now, you can't hang your hat on each in particular pixel and area of this, but you can draw a general conclusion that the model is picking up on the weakening as it moves through Duval and down into St. John's Clay. I still think that by 4 or 5 o'clock we could have some widely scattered showers across some of our interstates as we go through that 4 to 6 o'clock range. Overcast certainly, and this could be in the form of a moderate drizzle or even some heavy downpours. Getting through the rest of our evening though, clearing with those cooler temperatures coming in, and then we look kind of behind and beyond where we've got another weather impact alert for our Sunday. And that's due to the next front that is on its way, even more robust, even colder air behind this, which will really change things up and perhaps be a little bit of a shock to the system as we get to next work week. So let's go county by county, if you'll indulge me, Robert. I want to start with Ware, Charlton, Brantley, Pierce. Scattered thunderstorms for our day. We're already getting that now, 10 to 2. I think 2 o'clock is a conservative, maybe even done before that, but at least by 2, we'll know that cold air is truly pushing in with a little bit of hail possible. Glen, Camden, Nassau, you're on deck. So noon to 3, isolated thunderstorms, some strong gusty winds still possible for you, and I want you to be extra careful when it comes to potential for lightning, so we'll watch that. Duval, we're talking noon to 5. I'm going to hyper-focus into 2 to 5 that we'll be watching specifically because of the interstates and the potential for school pickups, but we're just talking about isolated thunderstorms, mainly an isolated shower or two with some gusts possible.
I think the big thing there is like, if your son or daughter did not go off to school without an umbrella or rain jacket, they might be soaked on the way.
Yeah. They're brand new shoes they just got. Might be a little wet. Going out west, let's go to Baker, Union, Bradford, Columbia, Lake City up next, noon to 2:30. We'll watch those time frames. And then Clay and Putnam, and then my next county would be St. John's. But Clay, as we get further south, not quite as strong. So we'll keep that in mind. St. John's, Flagler. Of course, this would include our 95 corridor. So you think St. John's County, the 95 goes right up the gut. Everybody's trying to hop on it between 210, 16 going up. So let's just be aware that afternoon, evening commute could include some of that action. So, Robert, let's kind of take that 7-day, unless you wanted to steer us somewhere else.
No, this is great. I think Sunday is something that's noteworthy. Is that I think Sunday is going to be a little bit more potent than today.
Yeah.
That definitely is going to be having the higher chance of some stronger storms across the first coast. But also you can see it in the writing of the temperatures here, because tomorrow we drop down to 66 for the high.
Yes.
But look at Monday's low.
Yeah.
I mean, we could be back into the 30s here after we've been spoiled. I mean, we've hit pretty much 80 every day this month so far, right?
Yep. We had 2 straight weeks. I think of the we're at 13th, because tomorrow's Valentine's. I got to remember tomorrow's the 14th. So today's the 13th. I think we had 3 days to begin the month in the 70s, then a streak of 80s broken up by one day at 79, and then record-breaking temperature after that, right? So yes, our average temperature for the month is running about, average high temperature is running about 11 degrees above what's seasonable.
So we've been spoiled.
Yeah, we have. And the thing about Monday, like on top of those lows, we're going to be breezy that morning as well as you're getting back out the door. So I know we're going beyond our strong storms nearing headline that we've got for this, that we're thinking about for the rest of our day. And of course we'll be watching, but man, have that in mind. We get through this weekend. We got Daytona 500 Sunday. We're going to have some showers in that area of Volusia County. So we're watching for that. Kind of seize the day Saturday. That's going to be the day to get it done, because we got 80s. Sunday changes up. And then first next week, winter comes knocking. One more time. Let's go.
So we got about 2 more minutes here to talk to you. Let's take one more look at my graphics. Just a reminder of that it is a weather impact alert in place. That is until 5 o'clock. Widely scattered showers during the evening commute. Make sure you have a way to get those notifications. The First Coast News app on your phone will notify you if you get a severe thunderstorm in your area. Now, right now, it doesn't look like that is likely going to be the case, but just so you know, you're aware. And also, you can get notifications for discussions like this that we're having right now. But also, let's take one more look at the radar. We're continuing to track these storms. They're passing by the Waycross area. Looks like they kind of shifted off towards the east now, kind of kicking off there towards Nahunta, rolling down 301 here into Folkestone. You're going to be looking at a nice little shot of rainfall here soon. Back towards the west, just crossing I-75. Lake City, you're going to start to see these kind of work their way in the next hour or so too. But like we said, sometime probably between, you were saying about 2 o'clock or so, we'll start to see these move into the Jacksonville area.
All right, Robert's going to be on at noon. So check him out. Be sure to join us, First Coast News at noon. It's a whole hour. We got an hour of time to talk. So if you can't be there the first half hour, come by the second. And then, of course, we'll be checking with you online, firstcoastnews.com, First Coast News Plus here. And
doing a live stream at 1 o'clock as well. So if you're just watching on our FCN Plus,
love it.
Keep it tuned. Keep it tuned.
Keep
it running in your house.
On the TV around the house all the time. You might as well, because you're going to hear us pop up for some streams all the time. In the meantime, y'all have a great rest of your day, folks, and be sure to check out Robert at noon in about an hour's time.